committable offer. And a committable offer is what we're talking about in this segment. Some offers are just invitations to things like what Oklahoma just put on yesterday, a junior day, or camp. You got to work out to earn your offer, to, quote, earn your offer. Which, man, if I was that kid's parent, I'd be so hot, and we would just cross it off the list, because that's not how we want to do business.
That's our man, R.J. Young. Fight Me, you can hear it Sunday, 10 a.m. Really good segment R.J. had about what you use the term committable offers, basically kind of getting after what is an offer to actually come play and what's just kind of an offer to, as you said, just come to camp or an offer to evaluate.
Right. I mean, Ross Dellinger at Sports Illustrated had a really good feature that I'm sure took him a while to put together, where he went through 24/7 Sports Composite and basically counted up the offers from Power 5 schools.
Yeah.
And we're coming up with numbers like 300 and 400 offers for 25 spots at places like Tennessee, Alabama, also Syracuse. And some of these programs are trying to rebuild, and others of them.
Yeah, like a place like Tennessee, they have a new coach they're trying to rebuild, so it stands to reason they're probably going to offer a ton of kids. But yeah.
Right, but 440?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I didn't see, that doesn't seem right. But also, the Division I Council has tabled some sort of refereeing on this that would say something like, you can't offer a kid before September 1st of his junior year, which sometimes feels a little bit laughable, because I don't expect coaches to commit to that, and they would not be happy about it. Plus, you can't make the splashy things like Lane Kiffin offering an 8th grader named James Smiley in Tampa, or your guy Michigan offering Isaiah Marshall, 7th grader, in Southfield. Outside of that, though, what are we really talking about? We're really talking about being able to say as an adult, hey, I was offered by Alabama. All right, man. At this point, it feels like who wasn't offered at Alabama that was a decent high school football player?
I would say this, and again, I like the idea of put a date where you can offer, like you said, you said September 1st of their junior year or whatever. Pick a date. That's a good one.
Right.
There's another one, which this is going to sound crazy, but you put a date that says, okay, look, you can only offer a kid, say, September 1st of his junior year. How about this? How about if you offer a kid, he can sign right away?
Ooh.
Okay. So then we'll get to see how serious the offer is. Now, look, you can put in a rule of if a new coach comes, the kid can get out. And if the school fires a coach, maybe there's mechanisms there. That's one way to do it, because I think that would make offers a bit more serious. Now, I get, as I think you alluded to this, hey, look, if you're a big boy, if you're Alabama, Oklahoma, whoever, you're a big boy, you can lean on a kid. You can go to a kid and say, hey, son, here's an offer. Are you committing or not? And he can say yes or no. And if he says no, hey, it's fair for the school to say, okay, that's fine, but now we're going to start recruiting other kids. You see, I mean, is that a better way to do it, or what's kind of your take?
I look at it like marriage. I think it should be like a marriage license. There should be processes in place to where you have to sign paperwork to make it official to the state and the federal government as it is today. And if you want to annul it, there is a window for which you can do that. But there is a big difference between saying that I'm dating, or that I'm going steady, or that this is my longtime girlfriend or my domestic partner, or this is my wife or husband. Like there are levels to this, and what we're talking about is power, right? We're talking about power and its transitive nature, and that is why we keep going back and forth about the transfer portal, National Signing Day, early signing day, lesser signing day, your take. Look, it doesn't mean anything if you cannot commit. If you cannot say, hey, I'd like to marry you. Wait a second. No, I was just kind of saying that because, there's this hotter person states away that I would rather be married to if they said yes. So can you hold that thought? No, I can't. I'm insulted now. So that's how I look at it. And coaches don't want to give anyone of that power away. And them having to do their constant roster management is them acknowledging that the kids can still be kids.
I mean, look, in fairness, you mentioned the transfer portal. That's another thing, too, that I hadn't kind of thrown into this conversation. Kids can commit and change their mind all the time. So, it is a two-way street in the sense of a program can kind of play dirty and pull a scholarship. Now, I think we both agree. And look, it wasn't the same thing, but you played a clip from a high school coach in Louisiana. If you do a kid dirty, that school coach is going to remember it. So it might be a little bit harder to recruit a kid out of that school in the future. So in that aspect, I think it polices itself. But there is the case of, hey, a program does a kid dirty, or a kid is committed. Heck, Tulsa had a kid out of Union committed, and then on early signing day, Arkansas, or a few days before, pops an offer, the kid signs with Arkansas. I mean, that's going to happen too. So there is a two-way street in that sense.
Well, and Oklahoma did it with Ty DeArmond, who was all set to go to Arizona State, and then Lincoln Riley pops up, says, "Did you sign your letter of intent?" He says, "No, sir. You want to come to Oklahoma?" "Yes, sir." That's how you got your 3-star safety out of Arlington, Texas. But what I want to have this conversation lend itself toward is both sides of this narrative, right? Because we've been talking about what kids might get their offers pulled late and how that might be dirty. We've talked about how kids might be committed for years and then flip to a better school, a blue blood, if you will. But what I hate about this is like the Eric Wren story, a guy that was committed to Michigan for a very long time, never decommitted, just was kind of told, we don't really have that offer anymore. Now, it ended up being a really good thing, right? Because there's your center, right? But that story doesn't get told because the narrative is such that we'll say, hey, that kid just decided he didn't want to go there, or he flipped his commitment, or he decommitted, when really sometimes these kids are being told, hey, we found somebody a little bit better than you that we like, and we're going to try to soft play this and let you find somewhere else to quote-unquote decommit or flip to. I just want to have all of this laundry out in the street. That's what I want.
And in fairness, again, that's kind of doing a kid maybe a little dirty, but as we kind of said, a kid can flip his commitment too. So if a kid has an offer, if a better offer comes along, he takes it. Hey, if the school has offered you and something better comes along, can they take it too?
Right. And to further this, the kids have 5 years to play 4. Okay? Yeah. And in many cases, they're cashing one lottery ticket to try to cash another one. These coaches, especially at the Power 5 conference level, make millions of dollars over half the length of these kids' athletic careers in college. You cannot have this conversation about kids committing, decommitting, and whatnot without saying the money is a big factor here. Jim Harbaugh sitting on what? $8 million a year? More?
That range.
Right. What's a kid sitting on? Whatever the scholarship is worth at the University of Michigan, which is quite a bit less if you're in state. And at the top, you're talking about what, $50K? So you're going to tell me that Dax Hill is worth $50,000 to Michigan when he's probably worth quite a bit more? And I know that I'm getting into people's feelings because I'm talking about money in their amateur athletics, but guess what? The moment that you started playing these assistants and these coaches millions of dollars, all of this goes out the window.
Hey, I've come around on paying players.
Right.
Now, look, I agree. The problem is going to be we can't just pay football players. We can't afford to pay now we can afford to pay everybody. That's the hard part. Which I wonder, maybe one of these other leagues emerge, maybe something else changes, but still a lot to have happen. Still good stuff, good show. Again, you covered that. You covered a bunch of other stuff as well. OU getting ready for spring practice. And Dave aptly pointed this out because we were all excited for, before the Jalen Hurts stuff. Hey, this is going to be the spring of quarterback battles at all 3 schools. Well, that's ended at OU. However, as you pointed out, it's going to be the spring of coordinators at all 3 schools.
Right.
And OU, obviously, with Alex Grinch, that might be the biggest intrigue, if you will, for OU is how the defense looks, how they react, how that goes.
Right, and I don't necessarily think you can draw many conclusions, and the folks that want to see positivity are going to see positivity. The folks that want to see negativity are going to see negativity, and you're really not going to know anything, at least at the University of Oklahoma, I think, until you play Texas, right? So you're looking at October before you really have a bead on what Alex Grinch's defense is capable of, but everybody wants to see what the look is he throws out there. We're pretty confident about this 3-4 hybrid that he wants to run and what position some of these players are going to be playing against, again, Jalen Hurts, Trey Sermon, Kennedy Brooks, and you want to see the 5-star wide receivers in addition to CeeDee Lamb, how much bigger he's gotten. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what Gleason does up at Oklahoma State. I want to know what quarterback they're planning to run out there. I mean, is Spencer Sanders still the guy? You know, I want to know if TU can get back on. Man, tell me, what do you expect from Oklahoma State and TU in 2019? We know what everybody expects from Oklahoma. But, you know, and I know that Oklahoma carries the name and does the heavy lifting for this state when we're talking about college football. But, man, I would really like it if both TU and Oklahoma State were pushing for 10 wins this year.
Was it 2009, that great year? I think all three schools started 6-0, and all three schools' offense were prolific. I think that was 08 or 09. I can't remember. But, yeah, I mean, that was kind of the good old days.
I believe it was 08.
Was it 08? David Johnson was the quarterback.
Resident TU insider Spencer.
If it was David Johnson, then it was 09.
Oh, I think it was the David Johnson year.
I think 08 was Paul's last year.
We're like, I want to say all three schools were started like 0-6, and they were all ranked, and they were killing it. But yeah, no, I miss those days. But like I said, I agree with you. Oklahoma State, I mean, right now, not super optimistic. You know, Tulsa, they got a lot of work to do. So it's going to be an interesting spring. But hey, good stuff, RJ. We will talk with you on Thursday.
All right, fellas, I appreciate you.
Yeah, check them out at RJ Young. Fight Me Sunday mornings. A good show. It's interesting. It's a different, different perspective, different take. Sunday mornings at 10.